searching around for something different to try, and I found this product. It's called, I don't remember what it's called now, but
Sculptamo.
Sculptamo. There's a commercial product that's like part plaster, part paper, and some other things they wouldn't tell you. But, so I actually started doing a design in clay, a slab of soft clay would be my canvas, and I would do impressing found objects, or scraping, drawing, and then I would just cast with this material onto the surface, and then once it was set, you could separate the materials and let the paper, the Sculptamo would dry. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to dry, but then you could use it as kind of a 3D watercolor paper, basically. So that was the first time I started thinking about plaster. I did that actually quite a few years, and then, excuse me. When we moved to the Northwest, something happened. I just couldn't do that anymore. It just didn't feel right. I think it maybe was part of the natural environment here. So I was again on a search for different materials, and I saw actually in Port Townsend, I saw a encaustic demonstration, and it looked so easy. And it was like just the opposite of this casting process, because it was also so immediate. I mean, it would just, be wet 1 second and be set in a few seconds of cooling, and it couldn't possibly be a finished product. So I thought I would try that. Bought a lot of stuff. I love the wax. The wax is gorgeous, especially the commercial grade. It's so well ground, and it's just much better than making your own. But I played around with that for a while. Found out the immediacy can work against you. The heat, too much heat in a short amount of time, and you can go backwards several hours of work. But I had read about another artist who was using Venetian plaster as his ground instead of because the encaustic gesso is like really expensive. So I thought I would try it down and see what I thought. And so I played around with that for a while, and I thought, well, this is more fun than the wax. And it's also a little more, gave me a little more flexibility to work with it before it's set. And then I just started experimenting with layering the plaster on paper, and then of course going back and cutting pieces for the collage element. That's how collage is probably my first love from art school. And it just kind of, that's been about 4 years. So it just kind of evolved from that. And I use the plaster in different ways. I do printing with Venetian plaster. I can do stenciling, but it's always a buildup of layers. You do one color, let it dry, of course, in between, and then you build up a succession of layers in the plaster, and then because it's impossible to have even layers, you're going to have all this variation. So when you start the sanding process, a lot of the colors underneath come through. And so that's how that started. The first one I did, I thought, thought it was done right away because it was just, I had to get a mask so I didn't breathe the dust. Um, It just, the colors didn't look good, it was really dull and dusty. I thought, well, what have I got to lose here? I'll just sand it down to the board if I have to. So I was sanding away, still couldn't believe that it was, looked so bad. But what I didn't realize though, it's a power sander, does a real small diameter rotation. But I didn't realize the sandpaper was wearing out. And as it did, it started polishing that plaster, the dry plaster, just like the metal trowel. And these colors just jumped